Hello. How is everyone doing today? Happy Halloween. We are definitely full on into the Halloween season, and I have some guests joining me a little bit later. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we got some cool things to talk about in the beginning here. A couple things that I've seen recently. Trying to catch up on every year. I try to catch up on like horror films that I haven't seen before that, everyone has. So definitely going to bring some of those up to discuss. We've got some really great comments in the chat here. Hello, Sergeant Garatina. So happy you could make it. Slip de Garçon liked before it even starts. Oh, that's very, very kind of you. I always appreciate it. And I'm not really like dressed up today. I mean, a little bit. I borrowed my boyfriend's wolf ears that he wore like 2 years ago. And I have like an MJ Thriller shirt on. But if you want to see what my costume is going to be on Thursday, you can check it out on John Automates' channel because it's movie related, and we did a stream last night. Normally we do movie night, movie madness, but Bone Bridger was sick, so get better, Bone Bridger. Hope you're feeling better. And my costume was on John's channel because he hosted it instead. Um, awesome. Everyone's here. We got Hey Nader Film Girl, Collector Movie Man. I messaged you on Instagram asking you if I could maybe be on one of your live streams for Rent, Trash, or Buy, and you didn't say anything to me, so I figured you weren't interested. Oh, I must have missed that. I'm so sorry. I will look back into that to take a look. Cool. Maxfield is here. He is working hard at work. Cool. Holland, very nice to see you here. Thanks for stopping by. We've got Wilkie. I love Wilkie. You can check out his channel. It's really great. And I had him on a couple weeks ago, so you can check the replay on that if you have not seen it. I'm not sure if they're joking, but who knows? Who knows? Oh, nice. Venom trilogy is the worst trilogy ever made. Says, happy Halloween, guys. What a time to be alive. Yes, it is. And that brings me to Smile 2. I did see Smile 2. My overall thoughts are that it's not necessarily the scariest thing you'll ever see. But Naomi Scott was absolutely phenomenal. I think this was a really great role for her, and I think she's going to get a lot more work after this film. It's not like she's not working, but like, my goodness, she was phenomenal in this movie. I think the overall runtime could have been trimmed about like 20 minutes, maybe even 30, because there were certain like pacing issues I felt pretty strongly about. I'm still kind of processing the end and kind of how it ended, and kind of like what she was experiencing, because a lot of it was shown to us, but it was really just in her head, and she gets like kind of like time lapses a lot throughout the film. But yeah, I thought she was fantastic. I really do like the way they ended it, in the sense of like where it will lead to the third one, because if you don't want me to spoil it, I'll just say it lends itself to have much more of like more than one person experiencing what she's experiencing at the same time, if that makes any sense. Because usually it's like it passes down to one person only. But if you're exposing a lot of people to that, then how is that going to play out? So I think that that's going to be really interesting to see. So I'd love to know your thoughts on Smile 2. Yeah, Smile 2, Wonder Why No, because honestly, it's like a really great role for her. I mean, the whole film is centered on her. It also shows off her singing capabilities. It kind of has some similarities to Trap in that sense, except whereas in Trap, it kind of just felt like the concert made sense, but it kind of felt like throughout the movie, it was just trying to showcase M. Night Shyamalan's daughter's singing capabilities. Whereas here, I think it worked because she is the main character. So like being at her concerts and stuff makes sense. But even then, some of the things I feel like could have been trimmed down a bit, because it's kind of like after the third or fourth time, you're kind of like, okay, I get it. Like, you're a phenomenal singer, pop star. But there's like a really quiet moment with her at the piano, revisiting a song she had written, I guess, And that was a really great moment, and it wasn't like this, it didn't last like 3 or, minutes. It was just kind of a snippet, and it kinda, like, hypnotizes you. Like, sometimes her songs would, like, hypnotize you while you're watching the movie, and then something scary happens, and so that was kind of a really nice technique to use, because I would just, like, zen out watching the music sequence, and then all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" So, there are a lot of jump scares, so if you're not a fan of jump scares, then you probably won't like this movie, because it's filled with jump scares, for sure. Um it's not necessarily scary, it's your own thought preceding the actual scare. That's the really scary part, not the exactly. It's a very psychological, thriller type of film, more than just like a slasher or anything. But we have to talk about in Smile 2, baby Jack Nicholson. Did you guys know that that is Jack Nicholson's son? There were a lot of little Shining references, which was really cool. I wish they had used him more, because he's yeah, like, without spoiling it, he's in it, but he's not like a main role. He's a very important person to Naomi Scott's character. And I know that they probably didn't want to, like, beat a dead horse with the Shining references and all that stuff, and him being in a horror movie. But I really enjoyed his screen presence, and I'm looking forward to seeing him more and more in the future. Like, look how similar. I mean, it's like it's really crazy. And even this picture doesn't even do him like justice. Like, it feels like you're watching his father from the 70s. Like, it's crazy. So he did a great job, and I think that was a little nice, like, wink wink to see, for horror fans, for sure. Let's see. So now, I want to discuss some of the movies that I have seen recently that I hadn't seen, or like hadn't seen in a really, really long time. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, I actually loved it. Dream Warriors, I thought it was a really interesting premise to have them at the psych ward for that, and only, Nancy, who is now a dream psychologist, I guess, at this point, is like the only one that understands what these kids are going through. I thought it was a really creative use of the character. I know a lot of the sequels did not turn out that great for the Nightmare on Elm Street series, but I really, really enjoyed this one, and that's Patricia Arquette. If you have not seen her in a while, I mean, she like I forgot that she had such a like career before, um, her older stuff. Like, obviously, I love her in True Romance and things like that, but she's very young in this movie, and so that was really fun. So yeah, definitely recommend Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Now, I think this is going to be a very unpopular take, but I watched Paranormal Activity. I have not seen any of them. I personally thought Paranormal Activity was really boring. And I also had an issue watching the Blair Witch Project, because I watched that also last year for the first time. I think I like missed out on all the found footage ones for some reason. So like I'm trying to watch them now. I've been told that the Paranormal Activity films get scarier and more shocking as they progress. I get why it was a huge deal at the time, for sure. Like, this, there was absolutely no budget. Definitely a really creative way for young filmmakers to like make a horror film. But like the last 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, is where things finally get going. And I really thought the movie was going to be like a lot more of that, instead of this like 70 to 80% just setup of slowness. So I'm sure that like I'm in the minority on this one, but I think I was just expecting a lot more. Now I'm sure, now that it's like an established premise, I'm sure in the like moving forward that like they will be a lot scarier and all of that. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, how you feel about the Paranormal Activity films. Oh my goodness. Paranormal Activity is extremely boring. I agree. Okay, I'm so happy to hear that I'm not alone in this one, because I definitely was expecting quite a bit more. Let's see. Most horrific movie, Aragon. Even thinking back on how bad that movie was gives me nightmares. I don't know that one, so I'm gonna have to check that one out. The practical effects made it. Yeah, that's definitely for Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I absolutely loved everything they did in that. Slip to Garcon says, I'm home alone on Halloween, drawing a complete blank on what to watch. I like chilling / gothic, not slasher. Need some inspiration. Maybe go for something old. Well, I mean, you can always go the Hitchcock route for sure. There's a lot there to choose from. Um, I mean, oh, there's one that Max showed me like 3 years ago that was great that you'd probably love. It's black and white, and it's I believe it's The Haunting on Hill House. I could be totally screwing that up. House on Haunted Hill, and that could be wrong too. If he's listening, I hope he chimes in because I always forget the name of this movie, and it's really really good. So hopefully he'll be able to chime in there. Yeah. So. Hey, I just rejoined Bone Bridger's Discord server yesterday. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm horrible at Discord, and I went on to it once, and then I never went back, and I apologize. I know I should be active in the IsoCubes Discord, but maybe at some point I will be able to to be more active on there. Sammy G, how's it going? He was on my stream last week. Elm Street #3 is an awesome sequel, indeed, Tracy. We really enjoyed the remake for The Fly, one of my favorite Cronenberg movies. Well, I didn't even get to The Fly yet, and I did not know that there. Oh yes, there wasn't a remake of Cronenberg, so I see what you're saying. I know it's a remake of a super old film. Yeah, so I guess I can move on to that since there's really nothing to talk about with Paranormal Activity, creative filmmaking on a budget. But besides that, but I can see why it made an impact. The Fly, on the other hand, I cannot believe I waited so long to watch The Fly. I don't know what I was thinking. It was so much better than I thought it was going to be. It was so much better than it needed to be. And I really think it is like a Cronenberg masterpiece for sure. And I keep saying this, but every time I see a film recently, it's like, oh, like a light bulb goes off. You would not have gotten the substance without obviously Cronenberg, but even I said The Thing last time, but specifically The Fly. I mean, my goodness, if you watch The Substance and you've seen The Fly, now that I've seen it, I can totally draw that conclusion. You're gonna be like, oh, okay. So if you like The Fly, you will love The Substance for sure. So I definitely recommend it. Yes, okay. It was House on Haunted Hill. Yeah, it's so good. So if you haven't seen it, highly recommend. Thank you for bringing that up. Rear Window is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever really disliked a Hitchcock film. I've seen a lot of them. I haven't seen all of his filmography, but I've seen, I'd say 65% of it. So yeah, Strangers on a Train is my favorite, but I love, obviously Rear Window is such a classic. Yes. So now that we've kind of discussed these, you know, if you've seen them, I would love to hear too what your thoughts are on these films. But this I have to bring up because I don't know if anyone's really talked about this. I've considered making a short about it, but earlier in October, I watched the film Sleepaway Camp for the very, very, very first time. And the one thing that stuck out to me the most was the main character. So this girl on the left is the main character of one of the main characters of Sleepaway Camp. The entire time, so you can see the way she looks, first of all, so I don't even have to address that right away. But she is mute in the film, so she's very she doesn't really talk to people. She only communicates with her eyes. She's very silent. She's a loner. She has these big, big, beautiful brown eyes, and she's very expressive with them, but definitely kind of an outcast. So the entire film, she doesn't talk. Millie Bobby Brown in Stranger Things had to have been inspired by this character. There's absolutely no way that Millie Bobby Brown was not, 11 was not inspired by this character from Sleepaway Camp. I'm sure the Duffer Brothers I was calling them the Duffel Brothers. The Duffer Brothers, there's no way that they did not think of Sleepaway Camp when they came up with 11's character description and background and all that. Traumatized girl, doesn't speak to anyone, same age, same look. I think Millie Bobby Brown's character was much younger, obviously, than the girl in Sleepaway Camp, but still, like, as far as she grows up onto the, you know, right before our eyes on the show, she looks more and more and more like her in so many ways. Um, so yeah, I'd love to know if anyone ever made that comparison before. And also, have you seen Sleepaway Camp or have you not seen it? At first I had heard, like, I get it, like, the horror movies are so bad, they're good. I actually thought it was, like, a lot better than I thought it was gonna be, and it was, like, a really fun time. Like, it's definitely not so bad that it's good. Like, it's obviously campy, it's obviously 80s slasher style, or maybe in the 70s. It might be, like, late 70s. It's probably early 80s, though, is what I'm guessing. Um, but yeah, so if you've seen Sleepaway Camp, please let me know, because it's clear as day that that character inspired 11 for sure. um, Lesser known Hitchcock, I love his Spellbound dream sequence. Yes, yes, that is so true. Yes, that's a really good one. I took a Hitchcock film class in college, so that's where I was able to luckily watch a lot of these. And yeah, that's a really, really cool film for sure. Oh yeah. So yeah, if you've seen these, you know, let me know. I'd love to know. Or what are your Halloween plans? Also, what are you guys doing for Halloween? Do you have plans? Have you already started them? I know this past weekend was a big Halloween weekend for a lot of people in New York. It's pretty much like parties last weekend, parties throughout the week, and then parties again up until probably, like, I think November 2nd, because Halloween's on Thursday. So you have 2 weekends to really do it up. And what are some of your favorite Halloween movies? I would like, or spooky movies. I have, like, a game all set up. We're not going to do Own Run Trash this time, but when I have guests appear, which I told them to take their time, there's no rush. Um, they're both wound up being a little bit busy. Um, and essentially, I found a trivia that did this, and I thought it was really cool. So I will give them, like, 3 actors, but I'll list them kind of slowly, and then you have to figure out what the name of the like, what Halloween movie they're in. So you kind of go with, like, the most obscure one, and then you kind of get closer and closer and closer to, um, you know, the more obvious choices, and then it's like, oh, obviously that's that movie. Um, oh, let's see. Loki says, actually just watched North by Northwest for the first time last night, trying to clear up my Hitchcock blind spot. Yeah, no, I love that. I love choosing a director and then really just making sure, like, you're checking them off, like, you've seen everything in their oeuvre. Like, I just think that's, like, one of the most fun things that you can do. And I still have plenty, as many Hitchcock movies I've seen, I still have plenty that I still need to check off that list. Sergeant Giratina, for Halloween, not much. Might be hanging out over my parents to hand out candy. Well, that's really nice. I live in an apartment building, and I definitely live in an apartment building where no one has children. This is definitely like an apartment building for singles or 20 somethings or 30 somethings that don't have kids, just working. So I don't, but I know people live in buildings where they do have kids and families, and it's really cute. They'll just go door to door in the apartment building, which is really smart. And then also there's, like, all these trick or treat events throughout the city happening for Halloween. So that's really fun. Let's see. Tracy, I plan on doing my top 10 horror films video tomorrow. I just been to see the original Elm Street at the cinema today. Looked amazing on the big screen. I bet. I really, I love those. I think the fact that, like, you're not limited to what you can do with the Freddy franchise. Like, I love that, because dreams are endless, and that's, like, a creative person's, like, playground of, literally of what you could make happen. So I love that so much. Mindless meat. I hope you recover soon. Dental surgery recovery is my plan. Well, John Automates just went through the same thing, so I get that, and I mean, everyone's gone through dental surgery at some point, and maybe not just once. I guess while I have some time, I wanted to address something that I have talked about on this, not on my stream, but I've talked about it on other ones, and it has to do with the whole, and I'm going to be short about it, but the whole Cynthia Erivo thing. So I think that if you are looking forward to seeing Wicked, I'm very looking forward to seeing it. It's already sold out in a lot of theaters in my city. So that movie has super fans that have been waiting for like 10, 15 years, 20 years actually, 20 years since the show premiered on Broadway. So we have super fans of this IP. And when Cynthia Erivo decided to just say, that she was so offended by someone changing the poster to make it look more like the original Broadway one, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. And how bad would you make someone feel like you kind of targeted that person that made it, and now they feel like a horrible person, like they upset like a Broadway celebrity in like their favorite their favorite thing in the world. And it's just, I think it was really unnecessary and really uncalled for. And I hope that she learned a lesson, because it wasn't done out of any ill intent. It was clearly just a super fan that wanted to be like, oh, I made it look even more like the original. So it was very upsetting, because like I'm still really excited to see that, but now when I watch the film, it's kind of going to be like in the back of my head the whole time. And I just think that that's not how people should watch something, when it's like, it's unfair to the fans to like now have this eerie, like not eerie, but like this dark cloud over something that should be really exciting and fun, and celebrating something that's really creative. So just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, so this Halloween spooky season, I'm trying to catch up on some things. I am watching Agatha. I thought the last episode was absolutely phenomenal. If you've been watching Agatha, I can understand criticizing the beginning, the couple episodes. I get it, like cheesy, corny. But like the last two episodes, I was like, this is fantastic. I really, really am enjoying it. And I thought Patti LuPone did a phenomenal job. If you've seen Beau is Afraid, you will know what I'm talking about. She is so good as Beau's mom, Joaquin Phoenix's mom in Beau is Afraid. My goodness. So I was very excited to see her, in that for sure. Oh my gosh, I have a guest.
Hello.
John, how's it
How
going?
goes it?
Good.
What do you got? What are you talking about over here? You got 11?
I've been bouncing around all over the place, kind of. I know the dualies are joining a little bit later, but I had to point this out. So if you're looking at these photos, you would think that the girl on the left is also like an 11 type. That's from the movie Sleepaway Camp. And it just, if you watch the movie Sleepaway Camp, it's like the Duffer Brothers definitely were inspired by that character, because she's mute and she's an outcast, and she kind of just looks at people with her eyes, and it's very 11.
I mean, isn't most of Stranger Things taken from like a bunch of different mediums? Like when they really, I'm pretty sure if they haven't already, they've broken it down from where things are taken from. And I think that's why one of the reasons they were talking about why it worked so well, because it was like nostalgia in its purest form or something along those lines.
Yeah, I definitely, absolutely. And if someone hasn't made a YouTube video about that, breaking it down, they should.
I'm sure somebody has.
Yeah. I would love to. I'll just bring you back into some of these slides. I watched these recently, and I had I watched The Fly last night or yesterday. I absolutely loved it. Have you seen any of these films? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I've seen all of them. The Fly is obviously, that's just good because it's good. Jeff Goldblum. I am in love with the first Paranormal Activity. I don't really like any of the others, but I like the first one. And I know a lot of people look at the first one and go, man, it was cheap, right? Because if you look at it, it's like there's long periods of time, nothing happens. But I think it was a great example of just seeing if something can work and understanding the creepiness factor of nothing happening. And I think they did that really well. I think the whole thing of like, there's a scene in the kitchen, right? And it's just showing the kitchen and nothing happens. And I think, was it a knife that fell or something fell and it made a noise and it just catches you. And it's not a jump scare, but it is a jump scare. And I think they did that really well. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, not my favorite, but I still a classic.
It's so funny you brought up Paranormal Activity, because This was the first time I had seen it, and I feel like it's one of those where I like, did you watch it when it first came out in theaters?
Yes, I watched it, but like kind of after the fact. I remember all the marketing where people they used to have marketing, and they would say like people are passing out at theaters, and you had to do all that. And then
I'm
you
so
go like,
glad.
no, no, come on.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I think I was misled in my brain about what I thought it was going to be. And
Mhm.
as you said, not a lot happens until and it like until the next last like 20 minutes, then it gets really creepy. But I feel like they used in all the marketing, like people being like horrified to death the whole time, and like they
Yeah.
showed the creepiest, scary parts in the trailers. So I think, like, I absolutely appreciate it and exactly what you were saying, especially, like, that basic bare bones filmmaking. I think it was just my own expectations, thought it was gonna be, like, way scarier.
It's 2000. Was that 2006, 7, 8, one of those years, and that was also when camera filming, because we're talking Cloverfield had come out around the same time. It was just that whole, we had gotten a different level of technology handheld wise, right at that point. And yeah, I've said this because I was with I've said this, I said this to my girlfriend when we were watching Girlfriends, right? That show Girlfriends on Netflix. And there's a lot of other shows during like that came out during that time period where you can see when it very first started the different films they were using, film quality, and then as the seasons progress, the film suddenly it's widescreen, and suddenly they're using like 1080p versus that. Like you could see all that progression, and this is no different. Like it was during that time where they were just trying all these different things.
So, since I haven't seen any of the sequels either, do you like what you said you didn't like the sequels really? Like, where do you think that they missed the mark or went in the wrong direction?
Uh, so this there's I forget the one that this is gonna sound weird. There's like a Mexican one. It's like it's that one was I forget the names. There's like all these different names after like the third or fourth one. But that one was a little bit more interesting because it was basically them fighting back almost, or just kind of like not accepting it, which was kind of fresh for the series.
Oh.
But the rest of them, it's just a lot. They try to do the thing that The Nun has tried to do. They try to do the thing that a lot of like the Amityville Horror, like where they try to do the extension of the story. Oh, this has happened. Remember these events from the first film? Let's expound upon those now and add in all of these extra things that happen. And it was like it was just a lot. It was a lot. So yeah.
So they wound up, instead of keeping it as a, really self-contained
They
small.
create a lore, a whole universe of as to why it even got to that point in the first place. Because the second one I think is about her sister, if I have that correct, and then the third one is like a prequel about them as kids. And so you're like, okay, we're doing too much.
I know the girl in the first one at the very end, like they say, like they never found her again and stuff like that. Does
Right.
she ever come back, or do they allude to that at all?
I don't think she comes back. Somebody might know. I think it's they reference her plenty of times, obviously,
Okay.
especially in the second one. But then, and then obviously in the third one, they like you see her as like a little girl and things like that. But yeah, it's just it never really gets to what it was. It being a standalone made so much more sense. It would be like if Hereditary decided to do a second version, and it's like, oh, this is what happened to the family, or this is the reason why this family, it's like things like that. You don't Sometimes the standalone is the best thing about it.
Ah, yeah. This is, found footage is an acquired taste. If it
Yeah.
works for you, it works. But if it doesn't, it's agony. I have fun with the genre, so the PA series is a good time. I
Hmm.
don't know what that is, the PA series.
A Paranormal Activity. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like a
But it's
series, like TV show. Okay.
I agree with Tisha though. It's the aspect of if you don't like that film style of filmmaking, it's so like it's a lot. I liked Paranormal Activity, the first one. I like the style in general, but I did not like it in Cloverfield. I thought the style in Cloverfield was awful. I really did.
Yeah, I remember like being in the theater with Cloverfield, and it was like, I get you need some shaky camera stuff, but it was like way too much in my opinion.
It's too much.
Too
I
much.
didn't like it. Yeah.
Put the camera on like a table, have the character do that so you're still filming it, but it's not going like, giving people seizures.
I don't want to
uh,
watch somebody running, you know?
yeah. Oh, exactly. Nerdy Film Girl, have you watched Unfriended 1? What a watch! And the very ending was hair-raisingly scary stuff. I haven't seen it, and it's one that's been on my list. Have you seen it, John?
I've seen the first one. There's others apparently. The first one is a surprise. So I would you and Max should watch it. It's a surprise that I don't think a lot of people would have thought. It seemed kind of ridiculous when it first came out, but then you watch it, you're like, actually, it's kind of smart. It is.
Okay. Is it kind of similar to the one with the guy from Harold and Kumar? And it's like I think it's called
Oh, I forgot what that one's. I forget what that one's called. John
yeah.
Cho is his name, I
Yes.
believe, and
Yeah.
that one is more about his daughter, or that's more about him using context clues given by online, which it's like a commentary on how online our lives are, where the point where he's able to
Mm.
find all these different clues because everybody's online terminally, it seems. Versus this one was more about, I don't know if it was Skype. I think it was kind of like a Skype-ish type thing. I don't think they actually say what it is, but it's like all their friends are online, and then they start getting taken off one by one, even though they're on in this online group chat session. It's good. It's better than you would think it is. Can't be
Uh,
though.
yeah, I will definitely put that on my list.
Missing,
And
missing is
yeah,
what it's called. But what? Yeah,
I really
and
want to see that
they
too.
made a. The only thing I didn't like about that is if you go back, the directors, or I don't know if it was directors or if it was like the headlines they'll say is missing connected to this thing, because they're trying to say that there's also an alien invasion going on in the background. It's a whole
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like watching for other clues about what other things are going on
Yeah,
while
to like
he's
kind of
acting.
read the clips and everything, the newspaper clips, and kind of look in the background of some of the videos. They did the exact same thing for a very short scene in Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder, where like in the very beginning they show the UFOs kind of, and you don't really notice it until somebody had to. I don't know. I always think those things are kind of weird, but
It's a great way to reinvent
yeah,
found footage. Yeah, it absolutely is. Um, did you see Smile 2?
I have not, but I am interested.
Okay. Well, check out this. So Jack Nicholson
Ooh.
his son is in the film, and
Oh,
yeah, spitting
oh,
image.
didn't that? Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like they look alike. I didn't. That's his son.
Yeah, and he's not like in the movie a ton, but what they do use of him, it's they do a little like a couple shining wink winks in the film.
Hmm.
But he's great, and I'm curious to see what he does afterwards.
Interesting. That's not bad. All right. Well,
Well,
now I'll probably look. I'll look out for this specific scene.
well, we've got half of the dualies. Andy's here.
Katie's on her way.
Great.
She's down the road. She was like, "Get on, so they don't think we didn't get the message."
Oh, you're so kind. And John, I know that you're popping in. You do, if you have to leave at any time, please
All right,
do.
good.
Yeah. Um cool. So I have a little surprise. Oh, this is Smile. Did you we were talking about these films. We have a little game that is not own rent trash. I came up with something else because I figured this would be really fun, even for if you haven't seen a lot of horror movies. It's a game that involves you're going to have to guess the film from the cast
Hmm.
members. And first, you're going to see like one actor's name that might be like, it'll be harder to know what the movie is. And then there'll be another one that gets a little bit more easier. And then the final one should be pretty obvious. So even if you haven't seen the movie, you would know what it is.
Okay.
So we can, and if you guys, I don't know who's going to get it first. I don't know how to like, if you should raise your hand or just say it out loud, you can totally do that too.
Need
And,
buzzers. We gotta have
and
buzzers.
try not to look at the chat for people. And if you're in the chat, you can play along because I'm sure someone is going to probably give it away. Sergeant says also, doing streams. So this is Peter, a fan of Donkey Kong, or was he joking yesterday? Just wondering.
Who knows with Peter, man? The guy's a bumbling fool. Don't can't take that seriously.
And David, yes, he does look very strikingly.
He did look a lot. Yeah.
Good point. I have not seen this, but I heard it is found footage. It's called The Curse. It's early 2010s. Have you seen it, John?
No, I have heard about it though. This and that other film, Wreck, which ended up being the precursor to Quarantine. Not precursor, basically Quarantine made an American version of Wreck.
Oh.
Those two, this and Wreck, are considered widely to be some of the best found footage film type movies.
Wow.
And Wreck is excellent.
Okay, I'll definitely check those out. Okay, so the very first name you get, and you might not even know who this is, but again, it's going to get easier as I click. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
Nice. Wow.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if that was how we're doing it. We're just
if you got it, you got it.
That's fine. Yeah, and I didn't even know this kid's name. I know he's from Stranger Things, but I never knew his name. So now I know. This one would have been Jack Dylan Grazer would have been the next one, and then Bill Skarsgård would have probably given it away. And yes, it is it. You've both seen this, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The first one from when I was a kid traumatized me. My mom let me watch it when I was maybe 3. She didn't think I was old enough. Man, I wouldn't go into my closet as a kid. I was so creeped out. I used to go in because they had the inhaler, and they would take the inhaler. I'd go in with a chapstick, It was bro, I was so terrified of going in my closet to get my toys.
You gotta do what you gotta do to protect yourself when you're young.
That's I knew he was out to get me. I knew it.
Tim Curry's version is horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it is.
I think Bill Skarsgård's is also horrifying. And I think that he has kind of I forget what it's called, but he has that thing with his eye where it kind of moves slightly to the left or the right. And it works really well with Pennywise. It just gives it with those contacts on his eyes, it just makes it really horrifying.
Serial killer eyes.
Yes.
You're right.
Okay. So Heather Logenkamp. Did he just say yes to hold on? Okay. I will hold on then.
Okay.
Oh no, I was just moving all the way so Katie can hop in.
Oh, perfect. Hey.
Sorry, we're late.
No, it is so thrilling to have you here. We're playing a game. You're going to have to guess the movie. These are going to be so you don't have to have seen them. You're just going to see actors' names, and they get easier as you get three choice. I'll show you 3 names. So the first one is going to be harder, and then you can try to guess it, and you can just chime in whenever you want. So the first name is Heather Logenkamp, and I will move on to the next name if you would like me to.
Oh yeah, this one's not ringing it, Johnny.
Oh, dude, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare, right?
Yes. Robert.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
My boy gets blended in the bed, man.
I gotta say, I just watched. I was telling John, I watched the 3rd one recently. And Nancy, Heather Logenkamp, that's her name. I knew probably no one would know who that is, but she plays Nancy, the main character in the movies. She's a really bad actress. And I don't know if you ever realized that, but
that's so funny.
Well, I'm willing to. I didn't know that was her, but I'm willing to bet she's one of those who got relegated to just horror movies. Those people who are not really good, but they're just kind of used for this specific genre, and then they're just always in those kinds of movies. So yeah.
Yeah, she's no Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's fair. That's really fair.
Okay. I had to upload these in different here we are. Sorry, I had to upload these separately because the file sizes were gigantic. So here's the next one. Skeet Ulrich.
Oh, Scream, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a crazy name.
Yeah. I remember that one right off the top. Yeah.
Is he the dude? I always used to think he's Johnny Depp when I was a little kid.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. They're actually quite similar. Yeah.
Mhm.
He was
Dapper
also
man.
in he was also in The Craft. And The Craft was like one of my favorite films.
I can't believe he didn't change his name though. Like of all the movie stars who like changed their name for stardom, like Skeet is not the name I would have kept.
But you know what though? I mean, Skeet wasn't. I mean, Skeet kind of was
Did-
probably looked at a little bit differently back then. And then,
Yeah.
Ying Yang Twins hadn't had that since. It's like I think literally the only reason why I even know is because it just kind of sticks out as a name. I'm like, all right, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now the Doolies. I know you don't watch a lot of horror. Have you seen Scream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Classic.
Yeah.
That's one you're gonna see. Yeah,
And it's a franchise that all the way up to 7 never lost quality. That's the amazing thing is, like it was the perfect sequels. Everyone was better than the last, They definitely should keep making them.
I hope you're being sarcastic.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like the sarcasm wasn't coming in through clear enough.
Yeah,
Andy.
probably not.
Oh no, it's actually the opposite. But yeah.
But
to
the
be
first
fair,
one was
yeah, you could say
phenomenal.
that. Yeah, you could say that about a lot of horror movie franchises. Almost all of them, actually.
Yeah.
I think Nev Campbell's coming back.
Again? I thought she came back already.
Well, she didn't come back for the last one because of they didn't give her enough money, I think.
Take the
Which
check.
is like kind of crazy. Like she's like your lead horror. Like just give her some extra money. Like my goodness. Like the movies. Like these movies always make so much money. So come on.
Yeah, but Nev Campbell hasn't had has she been in anything else recently?
No.
No.
All right. Well, then,
She's not making any other types of movies.
No.
Does she have residuals from a show or something? Because they'll use that against you to not pay you.
Was she on Party of Five?
I don't know.
I think maybe, or was it Arquette?
Oh yeah, it might have been. All those 90s teens.
Because Courtney Cox.
No, she was. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
she?
was.
Courtney Cox has friends, so she's been getting paid forever and will get paid forever. So it's like, unless you have something like that, they'll use it against you.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw the most recent Scream, but and someone can tell me in the chat if I'm misremembering this, but Courtney Cox's character dies for sure in the last one. I'm pretty positive. And it was a weird way to get rid of her too. It was very strange.
Not gonna lie, I haven't seen the most recent one.
No, you're not missing out.
Courtney came back, but Nev didn't.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Courtney has friends money, and she had better negotiations.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so the next name, Kathy Najimy. I never know how to pronounce her last name, so if I'm wrong there, then someone can correct me. Next name, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, is it Hocus Pocus?
Yes.
Okay.
Hocus Pocus. Kathy Najimy is the third witch, but I just never know how to.
The one that rides the vacuum cleaner.
That makes sense.
I spent years pretending like I don't watch Halloween movies, and
she's been in things here and there. When I was looking, I looked her up on IMDb, and like she's definitely still acting. But she actually looks great now. When she did the sequel that they did like 2 years ago, I saw her being interviewed. I was like, oh my gosh, she looks great.
That sequel is the first one I saw. I didn't even see this one until like way after.
Really?
Seriously?
Wow.
How?
The sequel. I just missed it. I don't know. It was, I know it's like a big.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
What did you have? Like,
yeah, you missed it for 20
it was a Disney movie
years.
It's a staple of growing up in Halloween movies.
Nightmare on Elm Street was my only actual staple. That was it. That was the only staple I had when it came to like the Halloween stuff. Otherwise, everything was more cartoonish. Like I grew up on a lot of Real Monsters and Courage the Cowardly Dog and things like that.
Oh, bro.
But yeah,
so you were watching
a lot
Cartoon
of that
Network
stuff
and not Disney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we didn't get Disney in my house.
There you go.
But we did get Cartoon Network, ironically, and I usually for a lot of people it was the other way around.
Yeah. Because I was like, if you just watched Disney growing up, they played that every Halloween.
Yeah. Like
yeah, for sure.
Okay, Dylan Baker.
Dylan Baker. Who's the other one? There's somebody else. I know this one.
Would you like to see another name?
Halloween. Halloween. It's not Halloween, but is it
I don't even know who
trick or
Joe
treat,
Looker
right?
is.
Yes, you got
Is
it.
it Trick or
Trick or
Treat? Yeah.
Treat.
What?
Okay.
Anna
That one I
Paquin
know.
and Brian Cox. And I had to include
Yeah.
this because this is if you haven't seen it, it is really underrated. It is like an ultimate Halloween horror movie. And it's a triptych. There's 3 different stories being told, and that's Sam, and he's like a little trick-or-treater demon baby. And he makes sure that people get what they deserve. So
Have you seen that?
Yeah, oh, dude, it's scary as hell as well because it's like he's a bus driver, and the kids are like the little ghost things that run around town. They're like
Gotcha.
drowned. Is that Johnny Knoxville in the little holding the knife?
I think that's
No.
Dylan Baker,
No.
but he looks
is-
Oh, is that
exactly
who that
like
is?
Johnny
Okay,
Knoxville.
never mind.
Yeah.
I was like,
I remember this movie. There was a article like at the time that said, "Oh, this came out during Paranormal Activity, the very first one. I think they came out in the same year, and they were like, "Oh, Paranormal's not the scariest movie of the year. This is." I distinctly remember that. It was like on AOL or something like that.
yeah,
On AOL. Oh my gosh, AOL is so
I know.
we should watch this.
Yeah, I
You'll
know.
freak out. You're not gonna like it at all. It's creepy.
And this one lends itself so well to having sequels. And the director had said, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago that he wanted to do one, and that it was in pre-production, but we haven't heard anything since. This one actually never got a theatrical release. It was just a straight to video, but it's such a cult classic status with this. So I'm hoping we get more of Sam. Okay, and then we have one final set of slides.
Oh man, Trick or Treat.
You always come up with the best game ideas. These are awesome.
Thanks. I mean, I found a YouTube trivia thing that someone made, and this was one of their things, and I was like, that's something that I could do on my channel. So,
Yeah.
And I love trivia and games, so why not? So the first name is Vera Miles. Janet Leigh.
I have no clue.
Got nothing.
But you got Katie.
I'm not worse at names. Andy already knows this. I'm never gonna guess any of these.
Anthony
Wow.
Perkins. I'll give you an extra bonus. The son of Anthony Perkins directed a film that came out this year starring Nicolas Cage. Spooky.
Smile?
It wasn't in Smile. It was with Long Legs, huh?
Oh no, starring Nicolas Cage would be
Okay.
Long Legs, right? But this
Yes.
is
I have no idea.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Drum roll. Psycho.
Oh.
Oh, literally someone in the chat knew what it was.
David said definitely Psycho. Well, this
I've seen
goes to
Psycho, but
show-
I don't know the names.
I
I don't know
never
the
would
names.
guess these names.
This goes to show that you guys are not cheating and not looking at the chat. So that's great.
Oh, I put the private chat up
good.
to block the. I know Psycho, but yeah, I guess I've just never really paid attention to the names of like the actors in it. So that's interesting.
And another fun fact about this, Janet Leigh, who's the woman in the bra, she is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. So,
Is she really?
What?
You don't say.
yes, Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis's baby was Jamie
Oh,
Lee.
see, nepotism. It's been happening since the dawn of time.
Oh, yeah.
So the haircut's hereditary is what I'm hearing.
Yes. That was a good one. Yes. Okay. Kimberly J. Brown. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Judith Hogue.
Oh, this is Halloween Town.
Yes, John. And
Yeah,
you didn't
see,
even
I know
miss me.
Halloween Town. I knew Halloween Town, but I don't know how because yeah.
Debbie Reynolds, which is Princess Leia's mother.
Yeah. I've
Halloween
babysitted
Town.
before, and Halloween Town was a complete what we watched.
The fact that you've seen Halloween Town but not Hocus Pocus makes no sense.
Yeah, but like I saw Halloween Town because of like my little cousins who I was babysitting for. So it's like I wouldn't have seen this either if it wasn't for them. So it's like, oh, Halloween Town. And it's like it was their favorite series, and there was like 4 of them. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, I got into them all. I like
Halloween Town, but I didn't know there was 4
they're
of them.
so campy, but it's cheap, good fun. Stuff like that. I like that. That's what Disney needs to return to. Cheap, good fun.
Yes. That's
Yes.
cute.
Yeah, they're really fun. My boyfriend did not grow up with cable, so he did not have the Disney Channel either. So I've introduced him to Halloween Town, and now every year he like wants to watch a sequel. So this year I think we're going to be watching the 4th one. So
That's so cute.
They're fun.
so we'll see. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that was the end of the game. I wish I had more, but those take a long time to make.
No, those are great.
So what are your plans for Halloween, if you have any, if you've already done them, doing anything fun?
I think everybody got their stuff out this weekend. Is it weird when people celebrate Halloween when Halloween's in the middle of the week? Is it weird when people celebrate it the weekend after? I always feel like it is.
I think it is.
Yeah, our friends had their Halloween parties like
Already.
the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
So everything just feels like a hangover right now.
Yeah, I think most of it's done.
I think
Thursday
people
will
are actually
definitely
Thursday.
be
Mhm.
yeah the big day. But I think there are still things happening in New York next weekend, but I'm working all the weekend, but I'm off on Thursday, which is awesome. So we're definitely
Nice.
going to figure something out fun to do.
Yeah, they'll do stuff on Thursday for sure. But like,
Yeah.
I don't think anything else is going to happen throughout the rest of the. We were driving throughout the city and saw all the parties and all the people just kind of doing their thing at that point. So it's good, and luckily I think children might be getting their holiday back because it seems to be now a mixture. You remember those years when adults just took over Halloween?
Yeah.
Yes. And
So
it
it's
was
a mixture now. It's good.
And it was rare to actually see kids going trick or treating.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a trick or treater in years, like at all.
Yeah.
Do you guys live in like a suburban community, like what are they called? Like where houses are?
Do we?
The suburbs.
We actually live in
Houses.
We live in a subterranean compound near mole people. So I mean, that might be why we don't get a lot of trick or treaters down here. No, we actually live near the college, so probably why. Like people are just getting like.
So we see more people who are drunk, dressed up, rather than children.
Yeah, we're like really close.
But
to
there
so
there was also that scare. Remember that scare when it was like people just didn't want their kids to be out, and that lasted for years. So unless you were in a community like a HOA community, one of those where it's like everybody kind of knows each other already, so you would that did last for a long time.
I love the idea of Halloween in like a gated community, and the kids being like, you're not locked in here with me, or I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me, and just running rampant, knocking on doors.
That's funny. But yeah, no, 100%. Because there was that scare of like people were tainting candy.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like people didn't want even their kids.
Razor blades and candy apples. Yeah.
Yeah. All of that stuff. It lasted. All those rumors. Some were true, but it's all those rumors.
I feel like there were some schools too that like in the recent years decided to not let kids wear costumes.
Costumes? Really?
Like there was some, it might have just been 1 year or 2 years, but it was like, I don't know why, if it was like some other type of scare of like, I don't know. It was strange though.
It's been all over the place. It's the sexy costumes and the violent costumes have been two things that schools, depending on where you're at, they do kind of crack down on.
Yeah. I know the candy, like they're not allowed to bring candy. Like all the teachers can distribute candy and that's it.
Yeah.
Which is weird by itself.
Yes. Which is weird too. So
as we wrap up, if you have like a costume that you've had in the past or like one of your favorites that you've done?
I had the Halo. I had Master Chief. Like the helmet I have back there, I actually had a full-on Master Chief fit. I had the suit, and it weighed about like 60 pounds. And I was sweating.
Did you buy it or get it made? Like those things are crazy.
No, it was made. To buy it was $2,500, And I was like, yeah, we're
Whoa.
just gonna make it. But
Yep.
it was made out of cardboard. What made it heavy was we started putting in like we put in this kind of foamy type material so that the cardboard wouldn't break. And then you add in your paint and you add in all this other stuff. It starts to weigh it down actually quite a bit. But it was good. It was good.
That's awesome.
It looks
Wow.
cool.
Put
What
way
about
too much
you
time
guys?
into it.
Yeah. And you went out in that? Like that wasn't like just running into people.
Went out in it. Went out in it, and it was a whole thing. The helmet was the only real portion. Like that's the real helmet. But everything else was the cardboard material.
Gotcha.
It's crazy how much Halloween costumes cost because you can. It's same with Comic Cons. Like when we used to go to a lot of Comic Cons, you'd have people that made theirs, and like theirs always would look really cool. And then you'd see someone who like had bought one. There's always companies selling them, and there's like easy to spend like $3,000. You're like, whoa. It's like, how many do you have these? I have like 3 of them. It's like, yeah, like almost $10,000 worth of costumes.
The people who spend money on props like crazy is insane. That's why people get on. That was one of the big things with Acolyte. When people were complaining about the Acolyte, they were saying like, I've watched people create costumes live that are better than what you would see in the Acolyte, because people don't mess around with their costumes at Comic-Con or any type of like a Hero Fest or things like that. They don't mess around with their costumes at all. So
we were in Portland for Comic-Con, and a guy was in the entire like Borderlands. He was one of the like the psychos, but like the roided out psychos, completely painted. He looked like a painting when he was up against the wall. He looked like a still frame. It was insane.
That's crazy. Props to those people.
Yeah.
Tyler Wolf says, I always dress as a Blues Brother. Even spent a shift cooking while wearing it with sunglasses on for 6 hours straight.
Jeez.
All that steam and fog.
That's dedication.
Oh my goodness. Mindless Meat says, when I was in junior high, my friend cut arm and head hole in a white trash bag and taped paper to the bag. She was white trash that year.
That's my speed. I love that. Like, yeah.
Oh,
I do.
no.
That's creative. I like that. Simple and creative.
That's
Animatronics cost a lot too, depending on the size of each of them. Yeah,
that's why a real Iron Man helmet cost a lot.
Those things are crazy though. Like I see them and like, you know, the ones where they open and stuff. You're like, ah.
Yeah, like the actual real like lightsabers I've been seeing people making. It's wild.
We worked with a company who makes lightsabers, like doing their like website and all. And you go in there and you remember like when you're a kid and they're hundreds of dollars and they're so cool. And they're like better than ones you get at Disney now. And I was like, how many y'all sell these? Like a lot.
Wow.
But you're not allowed to bring them into Disney, from what I heard.
no, you'd be cutting into their market.
Yeah.
They want you to buy it there.
Actually, that brings up a memory I had. I went to Disney World when I was 6, and it was around Halloween, and I wore a costume, like a princess costume, and I was not allowed to wear that in the park, but I could wear one of their costumes.
Yep.
So my mom had to buy
stop
one
you
of
right
their
at the door.
Yes.
That's so messed up.
That's classless. Oh my
that's
gosh.
so messed up. You already spent a ton of money to go. Like, come on.
You're
Nah,
not allowed to be a fan. You're a consumer. Like, remember your place. Consumer.
Not fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
They said it was an insurance thing that like if my costume got stuck in one of the rides, but I feel like that was
bullshit.
Yeah, that's complete bull.
Ensuring you buy stuff while you're there is what it is, you know. It's our insurance to make sure that you spend money.
Max says, age 9, I went as a vampire slayer, but people were confused because I wasn't Buffy.
That's hilarious.
Buffy or Blade, that's all that would have worked. That's it.
Oh my. Well, I'm telling you guys, I'm so thrilled you guys joined me today. Happy Halloween season. Happy spooky season. I hope you're all having a great time on Thursday, or if you've had parties or everything like that, that's awesome. And thanks so much in the chat for being so great as always. Anything you guys want to promote before we head off?
Thursday, we have Fan Rant Thursday on our channel at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. So if you guys want to join us for that, please do. And that's just all we're doing.
That's about it, yeah.
Plus putting out videos.
Yeah. Brand vs. the Man tomorrow, 8 per usual.
Awesome. Well, again, you guys are great. I will put their links in the description down below. And we'll see you all next time. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Bye, everybody.
Bye.